So when I say call along here, how about Shimei Shai Bashim Kadash, the understood the apostles of great millstone. Shalom to all the brothers in the island Bible preaching this word in sincerity and in truth with much honesty. I'm the brother Shapar from a James Jamaica camp. And this lesson this morning, basically I want to dig down deep into the topic of the MOTB. You know what I mean? Going to tie it in with the RFID chip today. You know, because you see, a lot of people out there believe that we just come up with this chip thing out of the wild. You know, it's a wild guess. You know, and there's substance to the argument, man. And that's what we're gonna do today. We're gonna dig deeply into the argument. You know, from one perspective. You know, to give you an understanding how it comes down to the RFID chip being the mark of the beast. Yeah. So first, we could go into the scripture here. This is Revelation 13 and 17. I'm gonna read it first. It say, and that no man. Read up further. Read right from 16. It say, and he causeth all both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their forehead. Now we'll come back to the right hand and the forehead thing here, because you see a lot of people don't understand why a right hand and forehead was mentioned here in the text. And this is where a lot of people go off, you know, with all type of speculation, haven't done the research, haven't done the work to find out what does it mean. But first, let me go into the word here. Go into the word. Let me see. Go into the word here. Mark. So it was taken from the Greek. And the Greek word that it come from is
Strong's G 5480 charagma.
So it's taken from
Charagma.
the Greek charagma. And when I go to the meaning of the word charagma, it's a stamp or imprinted mark of the mark stamp on the forehead. Well, we are come to the point here. We are come to this. On the right hand as the badge of the followers of Antichrist. You know, this is nonsense right here, this local white man. No Antichrist bullshit. But anyway, we said the mark branded on animals. So basically it's a brand. Yeah? So let us go into the history of branding, man. Because you see, these are the problem with all these people who claim that it is an embargo and it is Sunday law and everything, and you don't know the history. You know what I mean? You don't know the history, you know, so you don't know what this type of language is coming from. Because when John documented this, you know, there was a particular type of culture that was then at that time. And you have to take in consideration what the culture was, man. You know? Let me just jump to the Encyclopedia Britannica here. I'm just going to jump down to here. You know? Now, concerning the branding, basically this is, let's say, this is Encyclopedia Britannica. It's a branding, branding property mark. Yeah? This is how you used to mark property going back into ancient times. You know, by branding them, stamping whatsoever insignia you have on them. I'll read the first part here. It says branding, because something is important in this section here. I'm going to read the part here first. It says branding, the permanent mark of a livestock or goods using a distinctive design made by a hot or super chilled metal, chemical tattoo or print from purpose of for a purpose of identification. This is very important, you know. So a brand, you know, or a mark basically was for the purpose of identification. You know what I mean? And you see down here it can be used as a means to show ownership. You know what I mean? So if you own a product, you put a stamp or your brand on it. You know, that is also important, understanding what the mark of the beast is. When we come down to the nitty gritty. But let me jump down to that point here. This is the point I'm going to bring out. This is the ancient Greek branded their slaves with a delta for doulos, slave, robber, runaway slaves were marked by the Romans with the letter F, fur, thieves, fugitus, or fugitus, Slovakia, fugitive, and the tiler in the mines and convict condemned to figure in gladiatorial shows were branded on their forehead for identification. And this is an example right here. Yeah, being on the forehead. So it was a physical mark that was put on the forehead of gladiators and such forth. But anyway, we continue here. It says, for purpose of identification. Remember that's something here, the identification thing, because this is important. Understand what the mark is. Yeah. Under Constantine, the face was not permitted to be so disfigured. So branded were placed on the hand and arm. Yeah? Or calf. You know? So when we read the scripture here in Revelation, it's actually going back to physical markings that were put on gladiators and such forth, and slaves. That's how they used to brand them back in the ancient world, especially back in Rome. You know, on the forehead, you know, a letter was branded on their forehead or on the arm. You know what I mean? So this is why the prophet basically making reference to that's why the word charagma was used, because it was a common practice in the culture back then. You know what I mean? So understanding that, you know, understanding that, look, branding was for the purpose of identification. This is very important here, you know. The purpose of identification. You know, this is what it was all about. Yeah. So in modern times, the question is, what is a more modern way to identify an individual? Because I would say you get your driver's license. Oh yeah, so the driver's license or your national ID is the mark of the beast. No, I'm not saying that. The thing is, there was a physical mark. You know, there's a physical mark that was etched into the skin. You know, one way or the other, of whosoever was to be branded at that time. See? So the mark basically is not a piece of paperwork. You know, it's basically something physical that is going to go into your body. Yeah, you know, the branding with the hot iron and them think that Asian thing, the tattoo thing, them think that Asian thing. You have modern time. It's no way you have modern type of branding, man. Modern type of branding. As a matter of fact, let me jump down to the section here. What's the next section here? In the same thing, it said the use of implantable microchips, you know, transponders to track and to identify animals. So I can remember one time when Nate say, "Oh, you know, where's my dog? Where? Yeah. But hey, guess what? It's for identifying, to identify an ID. So there's a possibility for an implantable chip to be an ID. So is it funny how this is talk about branding, going back to charagma, you know, you're basically marking your property, you know, according to encyclopedia, property marking, you know. It's funny how microchip is even mentioned as a modern way, basically, in the 21st century, basically, to become up the modern way to brand or mark something. It's funny how, yeah, because that's what it is, man. The RFID chip is the mark of the MOTB, as we would say, mark of your note. But the MOTB, that's what it is. You know what I mean? Radio frequency. That's what it is. Radio frequency. You know? Radio frequency identification. That's what it means, man. See? Why them don't put, yeah. Yeah, that's what it is. It's a radio frequency identification. You know what I mean? So if you identify a property, a product, you know what I mean? That's what it is. You know, just like the physical brand back then in that time. You know? That text here showing that it's a physical mark, man. It's not nowhere way out. You know, this is Revelation 13 and 18. It says, here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 603 square and 6. And when you look up the word here, 603 square and 6. See, it is chi style stigma.
Strong's G 5516. Chi, Xi, stigma.
Some of those
Chi, Xi, stigma.
some of those thing that just look up stigma here in the online etymology, and this is what you get. They say the 1600s a brand from the Greek stigmatized for stigma, the stem of stigma. So basically it's a brand, basically, and going back to what? Branding their slaves, man, or gladiator, or workers, man. That's what the Greek used to do. The Romans, you know, used to put, you know, certain letters on them slaves just to see them, you know what I mean? See, as case in point here, you have a B, you know, the forehead, you know, the image here. You know? That's what it is, man. See, so in modern times, your modern ID is RFID chip technology, man. Microchip is the modern ID, man. You know what I mean? Products basically carry a chip in them now. You know, as you can see here, you have different products, you know, brand name products, by the way. You know, carry a RFID now, and now you as property, seeing the so-called white man think that you is in property, he was gonna try to put a microchip in you, basically branding you know, to mark his property and to also identify you. You know, so that's the reason why you keep hearing about things like ID 2020, digital ID. Digital ID. And this is where the world moving towards, but it's going towards digital identity, which the microchip basically is going to lead you into that. You know, so you have things such as ID 2020 and all that. You know, brothers do some videos there with some, you know, with whole heap of meat, man. You know, extensive research get done into the whole digital identity thing, especially in regards to the ID 2020 program and what they intend to do, you know, in the future, man. So, you know, you can go up and you look up identity, digital identity, and all the microchip technology is gonna be the backbone of that form of identification, man. You know? So with that, when I say Kalalali or Bashima or Shai Bashima Kakodash, the apostles of Great Millstone, Shalom to all the brothers out there. Keep pushing this truth in sincerity and honesty, Shalom.